My child, come away from the noise of the world for just a moment. Quiet your heart and feel my presence drawing near. I am not speaking to the masses, not broadcasting a message into the void. I am speaking to you. Yes, you, the one whose eyes are scanning these words, whose heart is stirring with a flicker of hope or perhaps the weariness of a long wait. Understand that your arrival here at this very intersection of time and text is not an accident. It is not a random scroll, a chance click. This is a divine appointment, a meeting that I have orchestrated with the precision and love of a creator for his creation. This moment was woven into the fabric of your story long before you took your first breath, long before you learned the language of prayer. It was a golden thread in the tapestry of your life, waiting for this exact time to be revealed. I am here now, in this sacred space between us, to tell you with all the authority of heaven and all the tenderness of a father, that a profound and irreversible shift has occurred in the spiritual realm concerning you. The very atmosphere around your life has been supernaturally rearranged. Behind the curtain of what you can see, touch, and measure, a battle has been won. The unseen realm has been stirred into motion on your behalf. A doorway has been opened for you, a gateway into the next chapter of your destiny. And it is a door that no man, no demon, no circumstance, and no power on earth can ever shut. This door was not opened by chance. It was unlocked by the key of your own heart. It swung open because of the quiet, trembling faith you held onto when everything around you screamed to let it go. It was pushed ajar by the stubborn obedience you chose when it was inconvenient, costly, and misunderstood. It was finally thrown wide by the act of surrender you made, that moment when you finally released your grip on what you thought you needed and chose to trust in my hands instead. My beloved, you finally did it. You took the step one have been waiting for. You crossed a threshold in your spirit that has changed everything. You let go of the pain, the person, or the plan that had become an idol in your heart. You obeyed my whisper when it meant walking away from the crowd. You trusted my goodness when you could see no evidence of it. You surrendered the very thing you had been clinging to for security, for identity, for so long. That singular act of surrender, which you may have thought was a small, hidden moment of defeat or a quiet decision made in the privacy of your own heart, was not small at all. In the courts of heaven, it was a trumpet blast that echoed through eternity. It was a seismic event that shook the foundations of the enemy's camp. Angels, who have been assigned to you since your birth, leaned forward in anticipation. Demonic forces that had laid claim to areas of your life trembled and fell back in defeat. And the Father's heart, my heart, rejoiced with a love so immense it filled all of heaven. I looked upon you in that moment of surrender and I declared over all of creation, now is the time. Now is the hour of fulfillment. Now is the release for my child. My child, I know the road you have traveled to reach this point. I have walked with you through a season so long and so dry that you began to wonder if anything would ever change. You thought your life was destined to be a permanent state of almost and not yet. I was with you in the long nights when the silence was deafening, and you cried out to me, whispering desperate prayers you feared were dissolving into an empty ceiling. I saw you when you chose to wait, even when the delay felt like a physical weight that was threatening to break your spirit. I felt the strain as you carried burdens that were never meant for your shoulders, burdens of fear, of shame, of responsibility for things beyond your control. And yet, through it all, you did not fully let go of me. Even in your profound weakness, your spirit clung to a thread of my strength. Even when your mind was a storm of confusion and doubt, a part of you leaned in the direction of my voice. And though you could not possibly realize it at the time, every single moment of that endurance was an act of planting. Every tear you cried was a seed. Every prayer you whispered was a seed. Every time you chose faith over despair, you were sowing seeds into the fertile soil of your destiny. My beloved, That soil has been watered by your tears and warmed by my love, and now those seeds are breaking through the ground. The harvest is here. You have finally reached the moment where your hidden obedience will become a visible blessing. The silent tears you cried in private will become a loud and public testimony to my goodness. The long, weary season of waiting is giving way to a sudden and glorious fulfillment. Something in the unseen world has shifted in your favor, and it has shifted forever. You must anchor your soul to this truth. I was never far from you in those waiting years. I was never distant, deaf to your cries, or blind to your pain. I saw every tear that fell from your eyes, and I did not just see it, I collected it. Not one was wasted. I heard every sigh that escaped your lips when words failed you, and I wrote it down in my book of remembrance. I watched you as you walked into rooms where you felt completely invisible, where you were overlooked, underestimated, and forgotten by everyone else. And in those very moments, I was whispering directly to your spirit, I see you. I know you by name. I have not forgotten you for a single second. I know you doubted. I know you wondered if my silence meant absence, if my stillness meant apathy. But my silence was never abandonment. It was my most intricate work of preparation. My delay was never a denial of your request. It was the careful and loving calibration of perfect timing. While you saw a closed door, I was behind that door, building the room you were about to enter. While you felt a painful silence, I was silencing the wrong voices and aligning the right people who would champion you in the next season. I was breaking generational chains you did not even know were binding you. I was protecting you from doors you desperately wanted to open, doors that I knew would lead to your destruction. My silence was your protection. My delay was your preparation. And now, that perfect timing has collided with your faithful obedience, and a release is unfolding that will leave you in absolute awe. My beloved, you must begin to understand the spiritual weight of your choices. When you chose to have faith instead of giving in to fear, you were not just managing your emotions. You were actively shifting realities in the spiritual realm. When you chose obedience over your own comfort, you were dismantling the enemy's carefully laid plans against your life. When you chose to surrender your need for control and simply trust me, you threw open the gates of your life and invited my miraculous hand to work without hindrance. Do you see it now? That moment you thought was so insignificant, that decision to finally let go of a long-held bitterness and forgive the person who wounded you so deeply. That choice to trust me with your finances when logic told you to hold on tighter. That painful moment when you released a cherished dream into my hands, saying, "Your will be done." That act of walking away from a relationship or a habit that I had told you to leave behind. Those were not small things. In the economy of heaven, they were monumental. They were the divine turning points of your story. Each one of a key, turning a lock in a heavenly storeroom that has been holding blessings with your name on them. My precious one, you have finally arrived. You have reached the place of total surrender and trust that I have been gently, patiently drawing you toward all along. And because you have arrived at this place in your heart, the release can no longer be delayed or held back. The havens themselves are rejoicing over you. Angelic armies are being dispatched and are moving into position to execute my plans for your life. Doors that have been rusted shut for years are now swinging open on frictionless hinges. Chains of limitation, of addiction, of poverty, and of sickness that have clung to you for decades have become brittle and are now shattering, falling to the ground at your feet. The entire spiritual climate of your life has shifted. You are moving out of the season of waiting and into the season of receiving. You are transitioning from a time of weeping into a time of rejoicing. You are walking out of the wilderness of testing and into the promised land of fulfillment. And though you may not see all the evidence in this very moment, you will, soon. The proof will be so undeniable, the blessing so visible, The miracle so tangible that you will not have to waste a single breath trying to convince anyone that I have moved in your life. They will see it for themselves. They will marvel at your transformation. They will look at your life and know, without a shadow of a doubt, that this was the hand of God. You feel it right now. That gentle trembling in your spirit, that fluttering deep within you that is not the product of fear, but of holy and electric anticipation. That is my spirit bearing witness with your spirit that everything has changed. That is heaven's confirmation echoing in your soul, affirming that your obedience has opened the floodgates. That is the distant yet distinct sound of breakthrough thundering on the horizon, rushing toward you. You are standing on holy ground, my child. You are walking into the fulfillment of promises you thought had died on the vine long ago. You are about to hold in your hands the very things you once only dared to carry in your prayers. My beloved, I am telling you again so that it sinks into the deepest part of you. You finally did it. You crossed over. You stepped into perfect alignment with my heart for you. And now, I am releasing over you blessings that will utterly surprise you, miracles that extend far beyond your wildest dreams, and a transformation so complete that it will touch every single part of your life. Never again underestimate what I can do with a heart that is fully surrendered to me. Never again diminish the power of that one moment when you said a complete and total yes to my will, no matter the cost. Heaven itself moves at the sound of your surrender. The forces of darkness scatter when you choose to obey my voice. Generational curses break when you decide to trust me completely. That is why I waited. It was never because I was reluctant to bless you, but because I was lovingly preparing you to carry the weight of the blessing. If I had released this level of favor into your life before now, it would have crushed you under its weight. It would have slipped through immature hands. It would have been stolen by an enemy who saw you were not yet equipped to defend it. But now you are ready. Now your character has been forged in the fires of affliction. Now you have the spiritual strength, the profound humility, and the unwavering faith to steward what I am releasing into your life. Now, you will not bow down to the blessing itself. You will only bow to me, the giver of the blessing. Now, your heart is not set on the gift, but on the giver. And that is why the release is finally here. So listen closely, my beloved, for this is your new reality. Something extraordinary and permanent has shifted. You have stepped across a divine threshold. You will never be the same. The old season of your life has officially closed, and the new one has begun. What once resisted you will now yield to you. The people and systems that once mocked you will now bow to the favor on your life. The progress that was once delayed and painstakingly slow will now accelerate with supernatural speed. For I, the Lord your God, the beginning and the end, the one who holds all authority, have declared it. You finally did it. And now, I am releasing over your life a cascade of blessings, a flood of miracles, and a wave of transformation that will go beyond anything you ever dared to imagine. Stay close to me. Keep your eyes fixed on me, not on the shifting circumstances. And watch with wonder as I unfold marvels in your life that will leave you completely undone in holy awe and overflowing with unspeakable joy. My beloved child, let me take you back through the nights when you lay in the stillness of your room, wondering if anyone in the universe could truly see the real you. I was there when the heavy cloak of loneliness wrapped around you so tightly you could barely breathe. I was there when you stared at the ceiling, feeling the silent track of tears rolling down your temples and into your hair. I was there when the world seemed to be moving on without you, when every voice had grown quiet, and you felt utterly and completely alone. I was right beside you, my presence a steadfast anchor in your storm. You believed you were forgotten, unseen, and overlooked. But even then, I was whispering your name in the stillness of the spiritual realm. You wondered if your cries simply dissolved into the emptiness of the night. But I tell you the truth, not a single word, not a single pained groan of your spirit escaped my notice. Every sigh, every trembling prayer, every desperate plea of, "Lord, where are you?" was gathered by my angels and carried straight to my throne. Do not ever believe the lie that you were alone in that pain. I sat with you in the suffocating silence. I wept with you when you wept. I held your hand in the spirit realm even when all you felt was empty air. My presence has never, not for a moment, left your side, even when your broken heart could not feel it. And you remember the piercing weight of betrayal, don't you, my child? The sharp sting of being abandoned by those you had placed your trust in. The deep ache of being misunderstood by the very ones who were supposed to care for you and protect you. I saw the wounds left by their words spoken in anger, and I also saw the wounds left by their silence hailed in cruelty. I saw it all. I know how it pierced your soul, how it made you question your own worth, how it left scars that are invisible to the world but are carved deeply into the memory of your heart. But listen to me now and let this truth wash over you. None of those betrayals have the power to define you. They cannot rewrite the eternal truth of who you are in me. They may have walked away from you, but I never did. They may have judged you unfairly, but I covered you completely with my mercy. They may have broken their promises to you, but every single word I have spoken over your life still stands, unshakable and true. You thought their rejection of you meant that you were unworthy. But what you perceived as rejection was, in fact, my divine redirection. I was lovingly protecting you from futures that would have suffocated your spirit. I was removing people from your life who could not carry the weight of the blessing I am now preparing to release upon you. Yes, you lost them, but you did not lose me. And because you still have me, you have lost nothing of value that I will not restore to you 100-fold. And what of those prayers you thought were ignored? The ones you prayed with passion again and again, until your voice grew weary and your heart felt hollow and empty. My beloved, I heard every single one. Not one prayer you ever uttered vanished into the void. I was listening when you whispered in fear under your breath. I was listening when you cried out in desperation from the floor. I was listening even when you fell asleep mid-sentence, your spirit too exhausted to continue. And though you felt only a profound and painful silence in return, my silence was not neglect. It was my strategy. I was not ignoring your pleas. I was preparing your character. I was not withholding the blessing from you. I was protecting you from receiving it too soon. You desperately wanted a particular door to open immediately, but in my omniscience, I knew that if it had, the blessing behind it would have broken you rather than built you up. I waited because I love you too much to give you a good thing at the wrong time. I delayed because I was shaping you into a vessel strong enough to contain the miracle. My silence was never absence. It was the intense, focused work of divine preparation. Hear me with clarity, my child. None of your suffering has been wasted. Not one of the lonely nights. Not one sting of betrayal. Not a single tear you cried in secret. Not one prayer you thought had vanished into the darkness. All of it, every painful pissa, has been gathered and woven into the beautiful fabric of your destiny. Every tear you shed watered the soil of the miracles you are about to receive. Every moment of betrayal pruned away branches that could not remain, so that true, godly relationships could finally flourish. Every prayer you thought was unanswered was stored like a precious seed in my heavenly storehouse, and those seeds are now ready to burst into a glorious bloom. Nothing was wasted. Every delay had a divine purpose. Every loss carried within it a hidden redemption. Every season of sorrow was a divine setup for a season of unprecedented joy. My beloved, I know how heavy the weight of that pain has felt. I know how many times you wanted to give up, to stop believing, to let go of hope. You asked yourself, is this faith even worth it? Will my life ever truly change? Will God ever come through for me? And though you could not see it then, I was already moving. Every hardship you endured was training your spirit in resilience. Every trial you faced was strengthening the muscles of your faith. Every disappointment was stretching your capacity to carry the immense blessings I am about to pour out upon you. I was not punishing you. I was preparing you. You were being refined, like gold in the refiner's fire, like clay in the hands of the master potter. And now, the season of intense preparation is giving way to the season of glorious fulfillment. The heat of the fire will now give way to the shining of the glory. The ache of the waiting will give way to the joy of holding the promise. The river of tears will give way to songs of joyful laughter. You must believe this with all your heart. What is coming into your life will redeem every tear, every delay, and every loss. I will not allow the pain you endured to remain without a glorious purpose. I am the God who restores the years that the locusts have eaten. I am the one who turns mourning into dancing. I am the healer of the broken hearted and the lifter of the weary soul. I am about to pour my joy into the very places in your heart where grief once lived. I am about to bring overwhelming restoration into the very areas of your life where loss once reigned. The tables are turning. The season is shifting. The pain is being transformed into promise. Think of those long nights when you felt so unseen. I will make your life a testimony of my goodness that cannot be hidden. Think of the betrayals that shattered your heart. I will surround you with a covenant community of people who will love you with loyalty, faithfulness, and a purity of heart you have only dreamed of. Think of the prayers you were certain I had never answered. I will surprise you with answers so much greater than what you asked for, overflowing beyond what you could ever imagine. Every wound will be healed. Every loss will be redeemed. Every delay will be proven to have been a part of my perfect, loving timing. My beloved child, you will look back on this past season and see with perfect clarity that nothing was wasted. You will look back and realize that what you perceived as my silence was actually my greatest and most intricate work in your life. You will finally understand that the nights of loneliness taught you to hear my gentle whispers, that the pain of betrayal taught you to lean wholly on my unwavering faithfulness, and that the season of unanswered prayers taught you to trust my timing above your own. You will look back and see that I was writing a story far greater than your human imagination could ever conceive. But more than looking back, you will look around you in this new season and see the redemption with your own eyes. You will see the blessings manifest in the natural realm. You will see the prayers being answered one after another. You will see the promises being fulfilled in tangible ways. And you will know, without a shadow of a doubt, that it was me. You will know that I was with you all along, that I never abandoned you, and that every moment of your pain was turned into a glorious purpose by my sovereign hand. My precious one, let your heart find its rest in this promise. What is coming will transform everything. The season of laughter will far outweigh the years of tears. The joy of the breakthrough will erase the memory of the delay. The reality of abundance will overshadow the long years of lack. And the glory that I am about to reveal in and through your life will make every moment of pain worth it. You will not just survive, you will thrive. You will not just recover. You will be restored beyond measure. You will not just be healed, you will be made completely whole. I am faithful, I am true, and I am about to show you that I can and I will redeem it all. So lift your head, my child, dry your eyes, hold your heart steady in my promise. For the season of pain has completed its work, and now the season of joy has come. Every tear, every delay, and every loss is about to be redeemed. And you will walk into a future overflowing with miracles, blessings, and glory that will leave you in awe of my love for you forever.